achieving financial security, personal growth, and a life of balance. All of this is within your grasp through mastering the principles of smart investing. Let's delve into how you can apply these timeless strategies to build wealth, cultivate wisdom, and live a life of abundance. Picture this: a dimly lit apartment, illuminated only by the harsh glow of a computer screen. Hunched over the keyboard, eyes red-rimmed from lack of sleep, is Tobias. His trembling finger hovers over the buy button as he prepares to invest his entire life savings into a cryptocurrency he barely understands. This was Tobias 10 years ago, desperate, uninformed, and on the brink of financial ruin. But fate had other plans. Just as Tobias was about to make the biggest mistake of his life, a power outage plunged his apartment into darkness. Frustrated and slightly relieved, he decided to clear his head with a walk. As he wandered the streets, a soft golden light from a small bookstore caught his eye. Drawn like a moth to a flame, Tobias entered and found himself face to face with a book that would change everything. The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Little did Tobias know that this chance encounter would be the first step on an extraordinary journey. A journey that would transform him from a reckless gambler into a savvy, confident investor. Let's follow Tobias as he uncovers the timeless wisdom within Graham's pages and watch how it reshapes not just his finances, but his entire life. Lesson 1. The Investor's Metamorphosis. As Tobias devoured the first chapters of Graham's book, he felt a profound shift in his understanding. He realized that he had been a speculator, not an investor. The difference hit him like a thunderbolt. Speculation was akin to playing Russian roulette with his future, while investing was about building a fortress of financial security. With trembling hands, Tobias closed his laptop, shutting down the cryptocurrency trading site. He made a solemn vow to transform himself into a true investor, one who prioritizes through analysis, safety of principle, and adequate return. The rush of relief was immediately followed by a gnawing question. But how? Lesson 2. Diversification, the investor's shield. Graham's words on diversification resonated deeply with Tobias. He imagined his potential investments as a garden. Planting only one type of seed left him vulnerable to a single blight wiping out everything. But a diverse garden? That could weather any storm. Tobias began to see opportunities everywhere. Stocks, bonds, real estate. Each asset class became a new type of seed to plant in his financial garden. As his portfolio grew more diverse, Tobias felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He was no longer betting everything on a single roll of the dice. Lesson 3. Patience, the investor's superpower. The concept of patience in investing initially frustrated Tobias. In a world of instant gratification, waiting seemed almost painful. But as he internalized Graham's teachings, Tobias began to see time differently. He imagined his investments as saplings. Sure, he could uproot them at the first sign of trouble, but wouldn't it be better to nurture them, to give them time to grow into mighty oaks? This shift in perspective transformed Tobias's approach. Market dips became opportunities to water his investment garden rather than reasons to panic. Lesson 4. Dollar cost averaging, the investor's rhythm. Graham's explanation of dollar cost averaging struck a chord with Tobias. He visualized it as a steady drumbeat in the chaotic symphony of the market. By investing a fixed amount regularly, regardless of market conditions, Tobias found a sense of control he had never experienced before. This method became Tobias's anchor. Whether the market was soaring or plummeting, he stuck to his investment rhythm. Over time, he watched with amazement as this simple strategy smoothed out the peaks and valleys of his investment journey. Lesson 5. Margin of safety, the investor's life jacket. As Tobias delved deeper into Graham's teachings, he encountered the concept of margin of safety. It was like discovering a secret passage in a treacherous maze. By only investing in securities priced significantly below their intrinsic value, Tobias realized he could create a buffer against potential losses. This principle became Tobias's guiding light. He began to see the market differently. not as a casino, but as a marketplace occasionally offering incredible discounts. His newfound ability to spot these bargains filled him with a quiet confidence. Lesson 6. Bonds, the investor's anchor. Tobias was surprised by Graham's emphasis on bonds. He had always viewed them as boring, the financial equivalent of beige wallpaper. But as he read on, Tobias began to see bonds in a new light, as the steady, reliable friend everyone needs in their life. Incorporating high-quality bonds into his portfolio felt like adding a stabilizer to a ship. The once turbulent journey of investing became smoother, allowing Tobias to navigate financial waters with a greater peace of mind. Lesson 7. Market timing, the investor's mirage. Graham's stance on market timing was a revelation to Tobias. He had spent countless sleepless nights trying to predict market movements, feeling like a failure when he inevitably got it wrong. Graham's words were like a cool breeze clearing the fog of anxiety. Tobias realized that trying to time the market was like trying to predict the weather a year in advance, an exercise in futility. Instead, he focused on finding value and sticking to his long-term plan. The freedom this gave him was exhilarating. Lesson 8. Emotional discipline, the investor's zen. As Tobias progressed in his investing journey, he faced his greatest challenge yet, mastering his own emotions. Graham's teachings on this subject became Tobias's lifeline in a sea of market hysteria. Tobias learned to recognize the twin sirens of fear and greed, their seductive songs threatening to lure him off course. Armed with Graham's wisdom, he developed an almost zen-like calm in the face of market turbulence. When others panicked, Tobias found opportunity. When euphoria gripped the market, Tobias remained cautious. Lesson 9. Margin of safety, the investor's armor. The concept of margin of safety became Tobias's secret weapon. He imagined it as a sturdy shield, protecting him from the slings and arrows of market volatility. By only investing when there was a substantial difference between a security's price and its intrinsic value, Tobias built an additional layer of protection into every investment decision. This principle transformed Tobias's approach to risk. He no longer feared market downturns. Instead, he saw them as opportunities to acquire quality assets at bargain prices. This shift in perspective gave Tobias a level of confidence he had never experienced before. Lesson 10. Contrarian thinking, the investor's compass. As Tobias continued to apply Graham's principles, he developed a contrarian mindset. It was like gaining a sixth sense for market irrationality. When the crowd zigged, Tobias learned to zag. This contrarian approach served Tobias well, particularly during times of market extremes. During the euphoria of bull markets, Tobias remained cautious. And when bear markets sent others into a panic, Tobias found the courage to seek out undervalued gems. Lesson 11. Continuous learning, the investor's fuel. Perhaps the most transformative lesson Tobias gleaned from Graham was the importance of continuous learning. Investing, Tobias realized, wasn't a destination but a journey, one that required constant adaptation and growth. Inspired by this, Tobias became a voracious learner. He devoured books, attended seminars, and engaged with fellow investors. This commitment to learning not only improved his investment skills, but enriched his entire life, opening up new perspectives and opportunities he had never imagined. Lesson 12. Compound interest, the investor's magic. While not explicitly a separate chapter in Graham's book, the power of compound interest underpinned many of his teachings. As Tobias watched his investments grow over time, he felt like he had discovered financial alchemy. The realization that his money could work for him, generating returns on returns, was mind-blowing. It reinforced Tobias's commitment to long-term investing and patience, knowing that time was now his greatest ally. Lesson 13. Financial independence, the investor's true north. As the years passed and Tobias consistently applied Graham's principles, he began to experience a profound shift in his life. The growing cushion of his investment portfolio provided him with options he had never dreamed possible. Tobias realized that the true goal of intelligent investing wasn't just about accumulating wealth. It was about creating freedom, the ability to change careers, pursue passions, or even retire early if he chose. These were the real fruits of his investment journey. Lesson 14, Ethical Investing, the Investor's Legacy. One aspect of Graham's teaching that deeply resonated with Tobias was the ethical dimension of investing. He began to see his investments not just as numbers on a screen, but as a way to shape the world around him. Tobias started to consider the social and environmental impact of his investments. He sought out companies with strong ethical practices and explored impact investing opportunities. This approach not only aligned with his values, but often led to solid long-term investments in well-managed companies. Tobias realized he could do well financially while also doing good in the world. Epilogue: The journey continues. 10 years after that fateful night when a power outage saved him from financial ruin, Tobias stood on the balcony of his new home, overlooking the city. His investment portfolio has grown beyond his wildest dreams, providing him with the freedom to live life on his own terms. But more than the financial gains, Tobias valued the wisdom he had gained. He had learned to be patient in an impatient world, to find value where others saw only chaos, and to remain steadfast in the face of market hysteria. These lessons had not only made him a successful investor, but had also shaped him into a more thoughtful, disciplined, and purposeful individual. As Tobias reflected on his journey, he realized that his adventure in investing was far from over. Markets would continue to evolve, new challenges would arise, and there would always be more to learn. But armed with the timeless wisdom of Benjamin Graham, Tobias felt prepared for whatever the future might hold. As we conclude Tobias's transformative journey, you might find yourself at a crossroads, much like Tobias was 10 years ago. You have the power to shape your financial future, and the wisdom of the intelligent investor can be your guide. But in today's rapidly changing financial landscape, new questions arise. How do Graham's principles apply to modern investment phenomena? To help you navigate these waters, we offer 2 intriguing paths for your next step. Option 1. Is MicroStrategy Bitcoin on steroids? Dive into the fascinating world where traditional corporate strategy meets cryptocurrency. Discover how companies like MicroStrategy are applying time-tested investment principles to the volatile world of Bitcoin. How would Benjamin Graham view this bold move? This exploration will challenge your understanding of corporate treasury management and the evolving nature of money itself. Option 2. Debunking the Scams, the Intelligent Cryptocurrency Investor. In this eye-opening journey, we'll apply Graham's timeless wisdom to the wild west of cryptocurrency. Learn how to spot the difference between genuine innovation and dangerous bubbles. Discover how to apply the margin of safety principle to digital assets and understand what true value means in a decentralized world. This video is your shield against the siren songs of crypto scams and your guide to finding real opportunities in this new frontier. Both options will build upon the foundation you've gained from the intelligent investor, helping you apply these classic principles to the cutting-edge challenges of modern investing. Which path will you choose for your continued financial enlightenment? The choice is yours, and it begins now.